welcome to an oral presentation regarding business communications within the country of Israel. This presentation has been completed by myself, Rusty Sanders. I think it important, as part of a general overview of Israel, to note a couple of things. The first is that, as with most things, it is important to have foreknowledge on any given subject that one might seek to investigate, interact with, or engage with. This goes in particular for globalized international business. Israel follows this rule of thumb. It is critical to be aware that Israel is a controversial nation in the Middle East that is relatively new to development. While it does hold a great many similarities to the United States, it does have a set of ideals that are unique and, overall, a complex position on the world stage. However, despite Israel being an extremely unique country, it does not mean it is exempt from economic principles. As international business goes, many of the foundational parts of it are based in economic principles, and understanding some of these factors, especially within Israel, is important to understanding the country as a whole. Israel is rather small, but despite this, it boasts a high intake of international immigrants and has an extremely well-educated workforce. This shows in its dominant industries. While Israel does in fact focus on farming, as it has arable land suitable for the cultivation of grain, it also focuses very heavily on the financial industries as well as technology-based industries. The U.S. Has an ongoing trade deal with Israel relating to the military, specifically, and water availability initiatives as part of the complexity of Israel is that it happens to be largely in an area prone to desert conditions. Despite all of this, the country suffers from an increasing disparity between the wealth of the rich and the poor. While social frame of mind, it is important to note another huge part of Israel, religion. Religion is an extremely important facet of daily life in Israel. The country is highly controversial, partly because of its religion. Uh, it's primarily Jewish in a land surrounded by countries that are primarily Islamic. Um, Needless to say, there arises a bunch of conflict out of this. And part of the reason the U.S. has military deals with Israel is because of this. Um, Despite all of this, the government of Israel claims to be secular. However, it seems that religion still tends to infiltrate much of government decision making as well as some of the businesses based in Israel. Uh, the country, as will be further built on later within this presentation, tends to heavily espouse the ideas held within the Torah and the Bible. Contextually, the country of Israel is quite similar to the U.S. Not a lot of information tends to be passed through nonverbal exchange, like, say, would happen in a country like Japan. More often than not, the Israeli people will talk loudly, they'll be quite direct, and they will place a great deal of emphasis on passing information through writing, similar to how the U.S. conducts business today. As mentioned in the contextual differences slide, the Israeli people very much so intend on being rather direct in their actions. It's something highly valued in their society. They'll often speak quite loudly to the point that foreigners will often ascribe them to being too yelling and being rude. is not actually perceived as such within Israel. Um, it's also worth noting that largely due to Israel's location within a hot, very dry climate, business is conducted in a manner that would be considered less formal than here in the United States. Dress is often business casual in all but the most formal of occasions. However, just because it's less formal does not mean it is socially permissible to underdress or dress poorly. Also, one thing that Israeli people tend to put a large amount of emphasis on is maintaining good personal hygiene. Uh, Neglecting good hygiene, just as it is in the United States, would be considered quite rude in Israel. Perhaps the most difficult part of Israeli society to qualify in a brief amount of time is their legal and ethical differences compared to those of the United States. Legally, Israel tends to follow some similarities with the US. Local laws may obviously vary. However, it's extremely important to note that the ethics of Israel are largely based on the virtues described in the religion that they follow. In this case, Judaism. Not only this, but they tend to place an emphasis on speaking Hebrew, as they believe Hebrew to be a holy language. Not only this, but a solid chunk of laws in Israel are based within a religious ground. As previously mentioned, Israel is said to be secular, but it does continue to hold significant ties with religion. This has the effect of making Israel seem somewhat socially conservative in the face of the U.S. The U.S. in recent years has been seen to be socially liberal. This is a contrast that's felt in particular with American tourists over in Israel. As I believe I've effectively detailed in this presentation, relations between the United States and Israel tend to be quite warm. We tend to conduct a very heavy amount of business over in Israel, particularly in the military sector. As such, it would be both respectful and professional to acquaint yourself with some basic ideas about the culture and learn a few things before conducting business with the Israeli people. I can offer a couple major recommendations. The first simply being to familiarize yourself with some basic Hebrew phrases and the relative pronunciation for these phrases. Not only this, but make sure you're aware with proper formality. If you are ever in Israel and you are overdressed, well, you're going to be quite uncomfortable. And don't ever forget to respect their religion and their society as well as their values, even if it may seem a bit more conservative to those in the United States. Finally, be patient with the people you work with. Oftentimes they will yell, they may seem rude. Within Israeli society, this is not the case. Yelling is not always considered rude. But not only this, it's important to be able to repeat in said fashion. Israeli people often do not abide muttering, so you may find that you must raise your voice to effectively communicate in these instances. All in all, this presentation has given you a fairly foundational knowledge of Israel, and it has given you a list of recommendations that you can follow to be effective with your professional communications. If you have any questions or would like to contact me further for information, please contact either the email or the cell phone number listed on this slide. Thank you.